Hello everyone. Today we will discuss human thyroid gland. Human thyroid gland. The human thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland. Human thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland. It is the largest endocrine gland. The thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland. The thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland. Next one, it is origin from the endodermal in origin. It is origin endodermal. Endodermal in origin. So the endocrine gland. So it is the largest endocrine gland. It is the largest endocrine gland. So the human body, so the endocrine system, the different glands. The thyroid gland is the largest gland. So it is origin from the endodermal in origin. It is origin from the endodermal in origin. Next one, location. Next one, location. So the endocrine gland, it is presenting on the neck region. It is presenting in the neck region. It is present neck region near the junction of larynx and trachea. Near the junction of larynx and trachea. So it is presenting on the junction of the presenting on the neck region. So in this region presenting on the thyroid gland near the junction of larynx and trachea. See the diagram. So they are the thyroid gland. So it is a bilobed gland. It is a thyroid gland containing two lobes. Thyroid gland contain two lobes. So these are called as bilobed gland. So the thyroid gland contains two lobes. So this gland is called as bilobed gland. Next one, these two glands connecting between these two glands connecting the thin connective tissue. The two glands connecting tissue called isthmus. Connecting tissue is called as isthmus. The two lobes connecting thin connective tissue. This thin connective tissue is called as isthmus. So the thin connective tissue is called as isthmus. So these are the isthmus. The two lobes, the neck region. So the neck region, left side one lobe and right side one lobe. These two lobes connection, the isthmus. The isthmus connecting between the two lobes. So they are the isthmus. Next one, so the neck presenting on the neck region, the thyroid gland is presenting. Thyroid gland containing two lobes, left lobe and right lobe. These two lobes connection from the thin connective tissue isthmus. So they are connecting from the two connecting lobes. Next one, this inner side of the thyroid gland. So the inner side of the thyroid gland, they contain a follicular cells. These are the cells. So these are the follicular cells. So these are the follicular cells. So they are the follicle. So these cells are called as follicular cells. Follicle and these are the follicle. So these cells are called as follicular cells. So these are presenting on the cavity. Middle place they presenting on the cavity. Same. So they are the follicle. Thyroid follicle. So they are called as thyroid follicle. So in this thyroid follicle, between this region presenting on the connective tissue, they are called as connective tissue. These are the connective tissue. So between these parafollicular cells, present follicular cells, they contain another cells. Another cells. So these cells are called as parafollicular cells. These cells are called as parafollicular cells. Parafollicular cells. So the thyroid gland, inner side of the thyroid gland contain two types of the cells. One is the follicular cells, follicle. So they are the follicle and parafollicle. So these follicle containing cells are called as parafollicular cells. So these are called as parafollicular cells. So their cells are called as parafollicular cells. So the thyroid gland secrete two types of hormones. Thyroid gland secrete two types of hormones. Two types of hormones. Two types of hormones. The thyroid gland, they are releasing to the two types of the hormones. The thyroid gland releasing to the two types of the hormones. So these hormones, the thyroid gland, the secretion of the two types of the hormones. One is the thyroxine, two types of the hormones. One is the thyroxine, next one calcitonin. So the thyroid gland releasing to the two types of the hormone. One is the thyroxine, another one is the calcitonin. Thyroxine and calcitonin. So these are the thyroid gland releasing to the two types of the hormone. One hormone thyroxine, another hormone calcitonin. So the thyroxine releasing from the follicular cells, secreted by follicular cells. Next one calcitonin. So the calcitonin is secreted by parafollicular cells. So the thyroid gland releasing from the two types of the hormones, thyroxine and calcitonin. So the thyroxine is secreted by the follicular cells. So these follicular cells, they secrete from the hormone thyroxine. So the parafollicular cells, they secreting from the hormone calcitonin. So they are the two hormones secreted from the thyroid gland. Next one, so first hormone calcitonin, first one thyroxine. First hormone thyroxine. So the thyroxine is secreted by the follicular cells. Thyroxine is secreted by the follicular cells. The thyroid gland contain follicular cells. It's secreted two hormones. One is the T4, tetraiodothyronin, tetraiodothyroxine, tetraiodothyroxine. So they are the T4 and is also called as oxytocin. So this is also called as thyroxine. Also called as thyroxine. And the secretion of T3. The triiodothyroxine, tetraiodothyroxine. So they are the two types of the hormones. These two hormones the same function. T3 and T4 hormones same function. So the T3 and T4, these two hormones are the same function. They are T3 and T4. These are the two hormones, tetraiodothyroxine, triiodothyroxine. These two hormones are the same function. The two hormones are the same functions, hormone functions. So the first function, so they are the regulation of basal metabolic rate, regulation of basal metabolic rate, BMR. BMR means basal metabolic rate, basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate means, so in the basal metabolic rate means, so it is regulates cellular respiration. So the cellular respiration process, so the mitochondria releasing ATP released by mitochondria. So the first one, regulation of basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate means, so they are increasing of the cellular respiration, the cellular respiration process. So the cells contain a mitochondria. So the mitochondria, the respiration process, so they are releasing from the energy. That energy is called as ATP. So the basal metabolic rate, the process finally releasing from the increasing respiration process and production of ATP. Next one, so it also regulation of the homeostasis. Homeostasis of body. So the homeostasis of body means, so they are the thermoregulation. Thermoregulation means, so they are the basal metabolic rate in the respiration process. So they are releasing from the temperature, production of the releasing of the heat. So the heat, so they help from the maintain the body temperature. Next one, it also helps from the, hemopiesis. Hemopiesis means the production of blood cells. So this hormone helps from the hemopiesis. Hemopiesis means production of blood cells. Next one, it is also a regulation of metabolism of synthesis of the proteins, metabolism of proteins, carbohydrates, proteins, carbohydrates and fats. So this is metabolism of the protein metabolism, carbohydrate metabolism and fats metabolism. Next one, it is also helps from the regulation of maintain of the water and electrolyte balance. Fifth function, regulation of maintenance of the body water and electrolyte levels. So these are the hormone functions. So they are thyroxine hormone function. So the thyroxine hormone function. So the thyroid gland releasing the two types of the hormones. One is the thyroxine another one is the calcitonin, thyroxine and calcitonin. So the thyroxine function, so this first function, basal metabolic rate, increasing of the basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate means, so they are the increasing of the cellular respiration process. So the cellular respiration process, production of more ATP, more energy. In this process, production of heat, so they are the maintain the homeostasis of the body. Next one, it helps from the hemopoiesis, production of blood cells. Next one, so they are metabolism of proteins, synthesis of the proteins, carbohydrates and fats. Next one, so it maintenance of the body water levels and electrolyte levels, water levels and electrolyte levels. So they are the hormone thyroxine, hormone thyroxine. Next one calcitonin. Next one calcitonin, second hormone calcitonin, hormone calcitonin. So these hormone main function, so this calcitonin hormone function maintain the body calcium and phosphate levels. Calcitonin function, it maintain calcium and phosphate levels. Phosphate levels of the body, maintain the calcium and phosphate levels of the body. So the calcitonin hormone, so these hormone function, so they maintain of the body calcium levels and phosphate levels of the body, maintain the body calcium and phosphate levels. So the blood increasing of the calcium levels, blood increasing of the calcium levels. So these hormone stimulate, so these calcium hormone, calcium ions, they move to the bones, So these are the maintain the calcium and phosphate levels of the body. So maintenance of the calcium and phosphate levels of the body. So these are the thyroid gland. So the thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland. So it is presenting on origin from the endodermal in origin. It is location from the neck near the junction of larynx and trachea region. They contain two lobes, left lobe and right lobe. The two lobes connecting from the isthmus. Connecting region is called as isthmus. So this secretion of the two types of the hormones. One is the thyroxine, another hormone calcitonin. So they are the thyroid gland.